Yes, it's so great to be kind of back at the U Club. It won't be long before we're all back in the same room together. We know that'll happen.
We hope.
Yeah.
We really hope, because we miss the club. We miss all of you. And even though we're doing it in this format, we're excited to be with you tonight. And let's be honest, we're just excited to be performing. So this is my studio. This is where I teach and where I practice, and now where we perform. And it's a pleasure.
Yeah. So you may be asking, what is a group called Fear No Music doing in Club Classique? And certainly our mission for over close to 30 years now has been to present and promote the most brand new compositions around. And that continues to be at the core of our mission. But when we think about fearing music, a friend of all of ours, John Erdman, asked a very interesting question. Why just new music? Isn't there other music that deserves a second hearing, that people might be afraid of, or it might be misunderstood? Cracks, like notes in between the keys of the piano. It just hasn't quite fit in a significant way. And so as we go through each piece, we'll kind of explain the thinking behind how each work relates to that theme. And we thank you for joining us on this little adventure. And Monica is going to tell you about the first piece we're going to play.
Yes. So tonight we're going to start off with a gem by Clara Schumann. Now, when most people hear the name Schumann, they immediately think of Clara's husband, Robert. But actually, Clara, who was a mom to 8 children, was the breadwinner of the Schumann family. She had a wonderfully great career as a pianist, a concert pianist, and as a composer. And she was actually one of the first pianists to perform publicly by memory. She really pioneered the format of the modern piano recital. You know, we pianists, we like to blame Liszt for forcing us to memorize everything that we play in public, but it's actually Clara Schumann's fault. Who knew? So Clara Schumann, she wrote one composition every year since the age of 11. She wrote many songs and a piano concerto, and she wrote many solo piano works and also many choral works. This piece that we're going to play tonight is the first of 3 romances. She wrote them in 1853 when she was 34. And sadly, 2 years later, after this piece was composed, she stopped composing altogether at 36. And I have a quote for you. She later said, I once believed that I possessed creative talent, but I had given up on this idea. A woman must not desire to compose. There has never yet been one able to do it. Should I expect to be the one? Can you imagine? And so, really, most of Clara Schumann's works were not played for a long time. While she was alive, she was the only one who played her works, and she fell out of favor. And then in the 1970s, there was a resurgence of her music, and now she is recorded and performed. And this very sweet piece will give you a taste of just why she is so beloved to our repertoire now. I just want to do a quick check of the microphone just to make sure that we are. Yep, I think we're good. So, okay, this is the Romance for violin and piano by Clara Schumann.
Thank you. Lovely piece. Okay, we're really going to shift gears now. This is a Friday. Every Friday we have a family tradition of playing the music of Fritz Kreisler in the morning during breakfast. We listen to Fritz Kreisler. We call it Fritz on Fridays. And this is kind of fits into that tradition, except we're going to do something really different with one of Kreisler's works. This is a version of Kreisler's Praeludium and Allegro for violin and piano, but given the very personal stamp of violinist Eddie South. Eddie South was a child prodigy born in Missouri at the turn of the century. Grew up in Chicago and was given violin lessons as a young child, went to the Chicago College of Music, which is now part of Roosevelt University. Was a brilliant violinist. When he graduated from college, he could find no work because of his race. He was a black American, and the classical music world was particularly racist, and there were just no opportunities for him. So he found work playing in jazz and vaudeville in Chicago. You've heard of the Paul Whiteman Orchestra. Gershwin wrote his Rhapsody in Blue famously for the Paul Whiteman Orchestra. It's a huge early jazz group, the 20s and 30s. Even in the jazz world, Eddie South had problems. He filled in for the great Joe Venuti, jazz violinist, who played in the Paul Whiteman Orchestra. But when he did so, he had to play behind a screen because the audience objected to having a black man playing in that group. He went to Europe and found success and less discrimination there. And he would often use his classical training and knowledge to inform his jazz playing. And so there was always this very smooth, elegant, very virtuosic style of playing that brought in classical quotes from classical compositions. He picked up the Roma tradition of fiddling, and was a huge influence on Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli, with whom he recorded in the 30s. So we are pleased to present this transcription I made of a recording from 1937 of Eddie South's version of Kreisler's Praeludium and Allegro.
I just wanted to quick mention that we welcome any questions this evening. We can't see your faces, unfortunately, on this screen, but we can see any questions that you can type in, and we would love to engage with you that way. So if anything pops up, please do shoot us a question. fun. So, we are here representing Fierno Music, and we would love to tell you more about what we have in store this coming season. You know, when everything turned on its head back in March, we had to, like everybody else in the world, we had to cancel the rest of our season, and this has been the way that we have been doing concerts for the last 6 months. And you know, there is something I guess kind of nice about it having you in our homes, and I don't know, it feels kind of intimate in a new way. And so we are going to be presenting concerts online for our season, and we're just kind of embracing this new normal for now. And so our season, which we title "Tomorrow Is My Turn," will be a celebration of Black America.
So, as you heard with the Eddie South composition there, who knows what he would have accomplished had he had access and opportunity. And we want to, at Fierno Music, we want to do our part to help in that effort. So the entire season will be exclusively the music of Black American composers, many of whom are living and working today in this country. And so we're really excited about that. Monica and I will play a concert next month to kick off that season. Clarinetist James Shields, principal clarinet of the Oregon Symphony and Fierno Music member for a couple seasons now, will play a solo recital in January. Flutist Amelia Lucas, who's been with us for several seasons, she'll play a flute recital, and our founding father, Jeff Payne, will play a solo piano recital in March. Our main event of this season will be a concert in April. That's a collaboration with Bravo Youth Orchestras. A couple of seasons ago, we had the privilege of working with Bravo Youth Orchestras, a wonderful organization here in town, an El Sistema-based network of youth orchestras in public schools in Northeast Portland. And we're going to be working with their collaborative composition program to create a new work together with our musicians. So we'll have a premiere performance in April.
But back to Musical Misfits tonight. I am going to play a solo piano work by Alexander Scriabin. Scriabin, in his lifetime, he achieved worldwide fame for his piano compositions, and he wrote 3 symphonies and several other orchestral works. Extremely prolific composer. He was a major influence on Prokofiev and Stravinsky and Rachmaninoff. But as he went on in his career, he became increasingly experimental and eccentric. For example, he left unfinished plans for a week-long multimedia work called Mysterium that was supposed to combine music and dance and light projections and the smell in the Himalayan mountains. And so, as you can see, he had a lot going on. Scriabin died a very unfortunate death at the age of 43 in 1915. He had popped a pimple on his lip, and it got infected, and he died from septic shock. So really sad demise to Scriabin. After his death, so he was world famous, and after his death, his fame really took a nosedive, and biographers described him as a composer who fell from fame quickly. In fact, one biographer wrote, "No one was more famous during their lifetime, and few were more quickly ignored after their death." There was a British conductor who called his work evil music and banned it from being broadcast on the BBC in the 1930s. And so really Scriabin took a turn, but he also, like Clara Schumann, he reemerged in the 1970s. And today we often see his works programmed and recorded. And the piece that I'm going to play for you tonight is one of his most lovely preludes from his Opus 11 set, Opus 11, number 11. I hope you enjoy it. So good to see you, and so good to see your question. Do all 4 family members play Fritz on Friday music at breakfast?
But we don't play it live. We listen to recordings of Fritz Kreisler. Someday we'll work up to that, to live performances on the spot.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. We'll withhold breakfast until Okay, so the main dish on tonight's Musical Misfits concert is a work that's probably familiar to some of you. It's a beloved sonata by Franz Schubert. Even so, there are many levels of misfittery here. Can I say that?
Sure.
This sonata it's a sonata in A minor, but it's known as the Arpeggioni Sonata, and that's because it was written for an instrument called the Arpeggione. This was during the instrument was made in 1823. During that time, there was a lot of experimentation and innovation in instrument making, and there were constantly these new instruments being introduced into the musical world. It's very different from now. We've been playing these same violins, violas, cellos, and wind instruments too, the same instruments for much of the last century with not a whole lot of innovation. But the 19th century was full of wildly innovative ideas. And one of those was the Arpeggione, which was essentially a bowed guitar. So it was tuned exactly like a guitar. It had 6 strings, and it was held like a cello and played like this. And it had guitar frets, too. And it was all the rage in the 1820s. And then just as quickly it disappeared. Just kind of faded into obscurity. A year after it was introduced, in 1824, Schubert wrote his Arpeggione Sonata, which is the only sonata we have left for this instrument. And so if we say it's the best, there's not much to compare it with, but it's a wonderful piece. Schubert himself was, in a lot of ways, a misfit. He was a very prolific composer who worked in relative obscurity and only got the attention that he deserved at the very end of his life. He put on his first public concert of his work that was received very well in Vienna, and then a few months later he died at the age 31. And the other thing about this piece, it wasn't even published until 1871, well after the Arpeggione had disappeared from the musical scene. So, this thing came out and people said, great, what do we do with this? And violists love playing it, cellists love to play it, but again, it doesn't quite fit in because the range of that Arpeggione was too big for the viola to really cover, so some things I have to take up an octave because I can't play low enough. For cello, this piece is fiendishly difficult because it goes up so high. So it doesn't quite fit anything, but it's beautiful music. And from the first few measures, you'll instantly know that it's Schubert's hand. Hope you enjoy it. The Arpeggione Sonata by Franz Schubert.
Do you want to tune?
Maybe I should tune. Thanks so much for listening tonight.
Yes, thank you so much. I wish we could just go upstairs now and enjoy a meal with you all, but we'll get back there someday.
Yeah.
And until we do,
I'll enjoy this virtual Manhattan I'm holding.
and actually, I do see one question from Sue again. Thanks for all these questions, Sue. Have you ever played an arpeggione?
No, I've wanted to get my hands on one. I've never even seen one.
I'm surprised that your dad didn't have one.
You know, that's one thing his collection was lacking, Arpeggione. I've never seen one. I've seen pictures, but I've never seen one in person. But they have been making a comeback, and there are actual people who have learned how to play it and play this piece on the actual instrument. I haven't heard that, but I think it'd be very interesting.
Well, please go check out our brand new website, piernomusic.org, and our entire season is listed on that site. And we really look forward to seeing you again all soon.
Thanks so much.